Hello, good morning, and welcome along to Euros Daily. It's Friday, the 9th of July. It's 29 days of Euro 2020 so far, and the countdown to the final is on. And just in case you needed reminding, England are into a major final for the first time in 55 years. Today, we will give you a somewhat informal tournament review, more of a chat between us, really, with a rundown of some of the major stats and talking points. We will, of course, have Roz's stat of the day, and we'll give our predictions for top scorer and player of the tournament. Alongside me is the pun man, Mus, and Roz cricket score, Mac. Mus, how are you this morning?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. A little tired after our footballing exploits last night.
Yeah, and Mus, Roz, how are you, sorry?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Yeah. Has anyone actually slept yet?
I had very little sleep last night. I was tossing and turning. I literally, this is no word of a lie, I literally had World in Motion like stuck on loop in my head. I'm like laying down the pillow like, love's got the world in motion.
Brilliant. That's kind of like a sort of constant night before Christmas for me.
Yeah.
Like, can't sleep, getting up really early. Oh, 2 more days to go.
I feel like, you know, like obviously Three Lions is the big one, right? But for me, I think World in Motion is going to be the one for this final because it was Italia 90 and because we're playing Italy and it's got the little Italianisms in it, you know, like Arriva Dirci, it's one-on-one. I think, you know, it just like, I think it's a more poignant one. 31 years ago, that song. 31 years. Doesn't it make you feel old?
I prefer Three Lions personally, but it's more my generation. But like, there's just something about Three Lions sort of getting sung in the stadium. It's a song that you can kind of start anywhere. You can't get sort of 60,000 England fans all singing John Barnes rap in unison, can you? It's quite hard to organise.
We can hope, Mus, can't we? We can hope that we get that moment.
And Jacob Rees-Mogg tried to get a song started in Parliament the other day. I don't know if you saw it. He was quoting the John Barnes rap.
Oh,
no.
Yeah, he was like, to quote Mr. Barnes, "You've got to hold and give, but do it at the right time." Yeah.
Wow. I'm sure he gave it, you know, a very respectful rendition, but he's not going to hold the same kind of.
This is the man that used the word floppy hockey nihilipilification. He just batted it off as if it was a normal word, which is one of the like longest words in the English language, and only arseholes use it. Just imagining like someone that just said floppy hockey nihilipilification on the cash would then quote a John Barnes rap. Astounding. You're very blatant. I was just showing off that I could say flocky knocky nihilipilification.
Yeah, I mean, well, technically you're saying it wrong though. It's flocky knocky nihilipilification.
I thought it was flocky knocky nihilipilification.
Mus, do you want to chime in?
It's really too early in the morning.
Try and say it, Roz. Can you say it in an Italian accent?
Flocky, that sounds like pasta, doesn't it? Flocky knocky.
Flocky knocky nihilipilification.
Like sort of English chefs like butchering an Italian recipe. It's like, oh, it's flocky knocky. Right, I'm getting a bit racist now. Should we talk about football?
Let's talk about football, shall we? And where better to start than with a little look at some of the stats so far. So, Roz, do you want to kick us off with your stat of the day?
Why not? I think it's been sorry, I just got a text message from Gareth Southgate. He says it's coming home.
Oh, really? I thought it was from Ben Tweedy. Was it from Ben Tweedy? Because I got a message as well from Ben Tweedy.
No, so I think it's been a tournament where sort of optimism and unity has won after such a shocking year and a bit for the whole world, really. And the kind of theme of England's tournament has just been that optimism and sort of allowing yourself to hope. And we're in a final, optimism's won. If you remember when we started the podcast, Mus he kind of started us off with pessimism. He Mus told us about how there were only 2.16 goals per game in this format, which was like the lowest since '96. Do you know, Mus, do you want to guess how many goals there have been per game? I'll give you a hint. It's more than 2.16.
Wasn't it around like 2.8 around like the round of 16? I imagine it's gone slightly down since.
I'll need a final answer, I'm afraid.
2.5.
It's so nice when they get slower. It's 2.8.
Oh,
Say it at that rate, right? So that's like nearly 3 goals a game. That's basically like an extra goal per game across the 50 that we've had so far. So,
Yep.
what's that per minute?
32 minutes per goal. 140 goals, like you say, across the 50 games. 1 game left. Hopefully, if there'll be 2.8 goals in that for England.
We'll score 2 and they'll score 0.8.
Yeah, that's exactly what will happen. Absolutely. Because Donnarumma's not conceded more than 1 in any of his 35 caps for Italy. But, whatever. It's fine. Anyway, we'll get on to that. Look, some stats. Thank you for your stat of the day, Ross. Start of the day. A few more of those left to come tomorrow, Sunday and Monday. And then we're going to have a break. We're all going to go on holiday, aren't we, lads? Let's be honest.
To Las Vegas.
Vegas. The lads on tour in Vegas. Brilliant. Okay, right. So, should we do it in the form of a little bit of a quiz? So I'll put a question to you, and you can tell me what you reckon. So I'll start you off with an easy one. Which team has scored the most goals in the tournament?
Still Spain, I'd imagine.
Spain couldn't finish their dinner, but they have potentially finished as the highest scorers in the tournament. Italy are on 12, Denmark are 12, England are on 10, Belgium on 9, Netherlands on 8. It's funny, just goes to show it's not about scoring all the goals, is it, at a tournament? Just ask Gareth Southgate. Excuse me. Okay, possession. Who's had the most possession on average throughout the tournament? Which nation?
I would say also Spain.
Spain. Yeah, Spain doing well so far in this review. That's 66.8% possession. Germany next, Netherlands, then England significantly. Italy nowhere near the top 5. Passing accuracy, again, is Spain. I won't bore you with that. And total attempts on goal, also Spain, right? 111 attempts on goal to score 13 goals.
You build them up, Joe. You build them up.
But, but Italy have 108 attempts on goal, and they've only scored 12. So their ratio is actually worse. England's is 58 attempts to 10 goals, which is the best ratio.
But they were playing against Courtois, and Spain were playing against Dubravka. Nah, not convinced. I think it's impressive that a team with such good stats can look so terrible. It's actually a feat to sort of control a game that much and just never look like you have any hope of winning the tournament because you can't finish. Wow.
Okay. Here's one for you then. Who's got the most clean sheets?
England.
England, indeed, have the most clean sheets in the tournament so far. Jordan Pickford getting that golden glove. It's already guaranteed, isn't it?
Yeah, you say so far, wrapped up, mate. Jordan Pickford.
Wrapped up. Okay, here's one. Who's scored the most headed goals?
England.
England, indeed. How many?
5.
Have you been looking at the stats, Roz?
Oh,
wow.
Really?
Yeah.
I've just been watching a lot of football.
5 headed goals, 4 on the right foot, none on the left foot. An own goal. Which team scored the most left-footed goals?
Ooh. I'm gonna say Spain.
Spain.
Nice.
With 6. Well done. And who scored the most goals from outside the area? I mean, this is a pretty obvious one.
That's Denmark.
Yes. There you go. There's some little stats for you. Now, Denmark, while we're on Denmark, let's talk a little bit about Denmark's story throughout this tournament, because it has been absolutely, you couldn't write a story that emotional, that kind of tragic, but at the same time spirit lifting. Just an absolutely beautiful story. Kind of a bit of a tale, wasn't it, Roz?
Started out kind of proving the power of football, sort of uniting people. I think, again, particularly after the we've had, but such shocking scenes. Obviously, the most important thing at the end of the day is that he seems to be okay, Christian Eriksen. Kudos to the paramedics and everything like that. But what it did, I mean, you had one point where the Danes were singing to the Finnish fans, and they were singing Christian Eriksen, Christian, and it's just kind of the power of football. They then went on a remarkable run. Then they came up against England, and their form took a bit of a dive.
Yeah, Mus, something, like we talk about Hans Christian Andersen and about how, not every story has a happy ending, but you can take a lot from it. And I think there's parallels there between the Danish author and the Danish national men's football team.
Yeah, absolutely. So, on the footballing side of things, they made history in kind of being the first team to reach the semi-final, having lost their first two games in the tournament. Unfortunately, no fairy tale ending this time around, but they can be really proud of recovering from such a traumatic incident. And I think, it's a little distasteful, but Eriksen's absence actually allowed them to play in a way that maybe they wouldn't have if he was around. Being able to fit in Damsgaard, who maybe gives you a little bit more at his kind of at the tender age of 21, and kind of they found their feet during the tournament. Kind of Dolberg only really started in the second round, didn't he, against Wales?
Yeah,
which feels like a bit of a shame because he hit the ground running. But yeah, they were very entertaining.
Yeah, I feel like Damsgaard really took it upon himself to fill Eriksen's shoes, didn't he, in that 11, Ros?
Yeah, and there's something about that kind of naivety of youth, lack of fear, putting a young man in. We've had it ourselves with Saka. He's been sensational. It wasn't a free kick against England. It shouldn't have been awarded. But apart from that, he hit it well. There was another goal he scored earlier in the round, which was absolutely stunning. I've said it a few times. I think he'll get a big move. Can I just quickly clarify? Mus, did you say, unfortunately, no fairy tale ending this time?
Unfortunately for them.
Okay, just. I think the bigger shame is how ungracious they've been in defeat. Fans and the manager for being supported globally. Just go and watch the penalty from the right angle. They're talking about being robbed. They created 0 big chances in the game. They had 6 shots to our 20. We had more of the ball. We had an XG of basically 3-0. They had, I think, 5 touches in our box all game. Mason Mount had more touches in their box by himself, as did Harry Kane, as did Raheem Sterling. So a bit of a shame there. But thankfully no fairy tale ending. But good tournament, semi-finals.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Denmark, finished second in Group B. Group A, the winners were Italy, of course. Wales and Switzerland qualified. Turkey had a bit of a dire tournament, didn't they? Group B, as I said, Denmark went through with Belgium. Finland brought us some entertainment, but narrowly kind of missed out. Russia kind of also rans in a way, weren't really doing much for the tournament. Netherlands looked like they could do it in their group, but it turned out that their group was a bit of an easy group. Austria, Ukraine and North Macedonia there. Austria and Ukraine qualifying as well. Austria through to their first ever last 16, weren't they? Let's not forget as well, Switzerland knocking out France. That was a really big shout from Group F. France, Germany and Portugal got through that group as expected. But Hungary provided us with some really entertaining stuff, didn't they? Especially in Budapest. And that was the first full stadium a lot of people had seen, having watching football for the last couple of years. Any highlights from that group in particular, Ros?
For me, almost being right that Germany wouldn't get through. And I called it early doors. And it took them until the last 10 minutes. I mean, that was a crazy day where we could have been facing anyone from that group at different minutes in the game. Probably the best group. Not just kind of because of the quality of the teams, but just because of the nature of the last day, and kind of every team being in second place at one point or another. The French kind of lit it up and then didn't as well. Like it was sort of like either sort of 100 miles per hour or 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, cracking group.
Yeah, Mus, anything to take from that group? I mean, do you remember? I mean, I remember some great games from that group, but any particular standout moments for you, Mus?
So yeah, Roz has already mentioned match day 3 of Group F. So the 3-all draw, Hungary, Germany, and 2-all between France and Portugal. There was also the 1-all draw in Budapest between Hungary and France, where Hungary had gone in front but couldn't hold on. One of the iconic moments of the tournament, the celebration, where they all kind of ran towards the fans, but there was a female journalist, I think, sitting at her desk. I don't think she'd been paying particular attention to that moment. And then next thing she knows, like the whole Hungarian first 11 are banging on her desk, and
yeah,
her reaction was quite funny.
Absolutely flipping the table, weren't they? Was it Shalai leading the charge there? What about the iconic moment from that group, though? Really, Ronaldo equaling Ali Day's international goal scoring record of 109 international goals. He's still sitting at the top of the pile in terms of Golden Boot. And maybe this is a good point to ask you guys. Do you think Ronaldo will walk away with a share of the Golden Boot come Sunday evening? Or can Harry Kane score a goal?
So I'm sticking to my position that I think Harry Kane can draw level with Schick and Ronaldo. I just think it's improbable that Kane will score more than one in a final against, you just mentioned Donnarumma's never laying more than one playing for Italy. It seems unlikely. Yeah, I think the 3 of them will probably take a share of it. Kane, Schick, and Ronaldo.
I'd say Sterling's on 3 as well, wasn't he?
Sterling's on 3.
I'd say actually, obviously, we did a proper England analysis of the game tactically, but I'd say really briefly that I think Kane's going to drop very deep in this game to kind of nullify that midfield so we can play with a back 5. So I think actually, and Sterling's just been an electrical tournament. I really hope that he's not kind of burnt out after that sensational performance against Denmark. But I'd say Sterling is, I could see him nabbing a brace, maybe.
Yeah.
Kind of round off his outstanding tournament.
You'd say it's more likely for Sterling to score 2 and share the Golden Boot than Harry Kane to score 1 and share it?
I thought they both had 3 goals.
No, Kane's on 4.
Kane's got 4. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I reckon Sterling will go down easy for a penalty, and Harry Kane's gonna score it. So yeah, definitely Harry Kane.
I felt for Sterling because he could have been on 4 if Simon Kjær had moved out the way or didn't in the way. And then at the end there, when we were putting together 50 pass moves, he drove that goal. He really wanted to get on the score sheet.
You can tell he wanted it, and it's that hunger. And I tell you what, Kane and Sterling, it's our 2 most experienced players showing up at this tournament for us, carrying the burden on their shoulders and carrying England through to the final. Not carrying England. It's not like there's passengers in the England team. We've got an outstanding squad, but still, someone's got to step up to the plate, and Kane and Sterling have been perfect.
Yeah. I heard it referred to the other day as the modern day manifestation of the big man, little man up front partnership. But yeah, the very modern version of that, because as Roz was saying, Kane drops in. He's not staying up there flicking it on to those running in behind. He's dropping in, taking it to feet, playing great balls like the one he played to Saka, which led to the England's first goal in the semi-final.
Yeah.
Interesting point, actually. Yeah, because, if you look at sort of the top goal scorers in the Premier League season upon season, the only 2 sort of natural number 9s, it changed a bit this season with sort of Danny Ings and Calvert-Lewin climbing up there. But in seasons gone by, the 2 constants, Harry Kane and Sergio Aguero, the majority of them are wingers. And it is kind of this thing that Barcelona started, I guess, with this sort of false line. but wingers that cut inside. And I guess it's the evolution of the kind of old 4-4-2 is that kind of 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, but with your wingers kind of inverting.
Yeah.
So I get in a way it is that kind of, you've got a striker that drops like a Bobby Firmino or a Lionel Messi, and then you've got a Mane or a Pedro or whoever kind of cutting in and getting the goals.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the last 16. So Wales unceremoniously dumped out 4-0 by Denmark. Italy beat Austria in extra time 2-1. Then the Netherlands lost to the Czech Republic, and that was 2-0. Belgium knocked out Portugal with a 1-0 victory there. Torgan Hazard with that goal. We saw on Monday, the 28th of June, we saw that epic day of football where Spain beat Croatia 5-3 after extra time, and then Switzerland beat France on penalties after a last-minute equaliser to make it 3-3 before going into extra time. What an absolute banger of a day of football that was. Can I just get a really quick comment from both of you on that day, like the highlight of your day watching those two games? Ros, do you want to go first?
Sure. It was probably I don't know. They kind of went out in a kind of a wave of kind of disgrace and what have you. But it was actually that sort of 4-minute spell where France showed us how good they can be. Lloris scored a penalty. That touch from Benzema for his first goal, like just sickening.
Oh, I know the one, the fluky one.
Oh, it says a lifelong fan of Dennis Bergkamp. I love it. You could tell that this one was intentional, unlike the Bergkamp one. Lloris scored I'm just going to move on. Lloris saved the penalty. Benzema with that very intentional flick. First touch and then chipped it over the keeper. Then Mbappe backheeled it to Griezmann. He tried to chip, didn't quite pull off, but then Benzema in the right place at the right time. They literally just decided, should we start playing? And that was my highlight of the group, really. I know they went on to the round. I know they went on to lose, but stunning.
Mus, what is it for you? Rabiot's mum?
Oh, that sounds very dodgy. No, it wasn't. No, it was it was what Rabiot's mum was talking about, and it was the Mbappe penalty miss, because just in terms of like narrative, it was so incredulous, but also so perfect in a way, like the Morata penalty miss. It's like he hadn't shown up all tournament, hadn't scored, but everyone thought, right, this is his moment. He's going to finally step up and contribute, and then it all went wrong.
Won a trophy early doors, but plays at a club that famously bottles it every year in the Champions League. It's kind of tainted his career a bit, I think.
I mean, he'll recover. He's young enough to recover. Look, let's carry on. Then England beat Germany 2-0. Obviously, we've talked enough about that. We've talked plenty about that, and we'll talk more about it when it comes to our England final preview on Sunday. Sweden 1, Ukraine 2. Ukraine beating Sweden in extra time in the blue and yellow battle. Switzerland, Spain was quarter-final number 1, which also didn't disappoint. It was 1-1 that Spain won on penalties, 3-1. Switzerland missing Xhaka from that game at that point, and they made some crazy subs, didn't they, as well? Italy managed to get past Belgium as well on the same day. And then last Saturday, Denmark beat the Czech Republic 2-1, and England beat the Ukraine 4-0, which was, I mean, it was a pretty entertaining and pretty easy game, wasn't it? Let's be honest. Which brings us to the semi-finals, which we just witnessed. Italy, Spain. Italy ran out winning 4-2 on penalties, and England obviously beat Denmark 2-1 after extra time, setting up a final for Sunday night at Wembley between Italy and England. Bjorn Kuipers will be the referee, not the Spanish guy that we were expecting. So Bjorn Kuipers has presumably done better in the tournament and impressed the UEFA panel.
That's astounding that they can take that away from him, because I remember watching like La Liga TV, this was like a sort of well-known thing in football. I remember watching a game towards the end of the season and going, he will famously be, he's like heavily tipped at least, like he's the man kind of expected. I didn't know they could take that away from someone, to be honest.
Yeah. Roz, you having some? Got the gardeners in or something?
Mate, don't even. Another word. What the fuck is it? Shut up!
Oh god.
I'll just put myself on mute before he starts like banging on my door. Fuck off.
Cool. Right. Okay. On that note, Roz is about to get like a lawnmower thrown through his window. But on that note, we shall say goodbye, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, lads, where we'll take a look at Italy's run to the final and their form and how they're looking going into the final. Any other business, boys?
It's coming home.
It is coming home. I believe it is. Cool. Okay. This has been Euros Daily. Drop a comment if you enjoyed it. If you want to see what Roz's gardener is going to do, then look out for updates on our Twitter account at EPL Weekly. Please consider subscribing and allow notifications so you never miss a live stream. See you later, guys.